Hello, talkers. Welcome everyone to our webinar about vegetarianism. Today with us is Mireya Sánchez, who is a clinical nutritionist. She has been in the field for about 2 years and she's here to talk about vegetarian and vegan diet. Welcome, Mireya.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Happy to be here.
Great. We're happy to have you here too. So let's see. Mireya, as I mentioned before, you are a clinical nutritionist. Now, what does a clinical nutritionist do exactly?
A clinical nutritionist is a health professional specialized in treating critically ill patients who are at a hospital and regularly can't eat um, in a normal way. So they require some specific artificial nutrition that can be the complete source of their diet and their nutrients, or that can complement an oral or normal diet.
Okay. So, from your point of view as a nutritionist, what is the difference between a vegan or and a vegetarian diet?
Oh, well, a vegan diet is a diet that does not include any kind of meal or food that comes from an animal. Eh, on the other hand, a vegetarian diet can include dairy products, usually, and sometimes they also allow other animal products like eggs,
Okay.
but just that, no meat, no
Okay.
fish, chicken, or red meats.
Okay. So no proteins at all.
Not animal source
The
protein.
animal one.
Mhm.
Yes. So, what are some health benefits of being a vegetarian or a vegan?
Well, originally these diets were designed for people who have a particular clinical situation, a disease, or something like that, a medical disorder that doesn't allow them process proteins in a normal way.
Mhm.
With the time, well, yes, people have realized that these diets allow some people um, have a different lifestyle because the way of cooking meat is usually or does usually include more oils or more processing
Mhm.
than veggies or fruit. So some people find these diets healthier, but it depends on the point of view.
Okay. So, well, on the other hand, what are some challenges or risks that vegetarians may have?
Well, and then again, it depends on the situation of the person.
Mhm.
And if this person is following a diet like this because of their medical condition, there are so many challenges because, as you mentioned before, um, protein normally comes from animal food sources. And when they don't have access to this kind of food, it's a little more difficult to get the full intake that they need. So they usually require um, other supplements or complements, and well, they are not very cheap or easy to get, and it's definitely not the same as getting them from your food.
Okay. So you mentioned something about well related to how cheap the food can be in this kind of diet. So do you consider having a low budget can be a disadvantage when choosing to follow any of these diets?
Yes, because it depends on the reasons why the person is following this diet. Again, if it is because of a medical condition, it normally is not expensive. It's not cheap, sorry, it's expensive. And there are many options that, I mean, talking about natural food that can give you enough protein, let's say, but sometimes they also give you a lot of carbs. So you've got to balance the income of these different nutrients, and that's why it's important to follow this diet, always guided by a nutritionist and a doctor.
Okay. So, how do you think the trends that are, well, like very popular among people in general, how do you think these trends influence on wanting to follow this lifestyle?
Well, I think they influence mostly young people, like from teenagers to young adults, I think, because these days everybody wants to be fit and healthy, and that's good. But it will always be good as long as you follow professional recommendations. If you just want to start because you want to be healthy, first you need to go to a nutritionist. It doesn't have to be a clinical nutritionist,
Okay.
and a doctor, because you need to know how your body is working at the moment. What are your real nutrient necessities? And well, if you want to be healthy, it is also necessary to combine your diet with exercise and
Okay.
good habits like sleeping well. And on the other hand, if you need to follow a diet like this because you have a disease or a medical condition, then you definitely need professional help. I mean, like a clinical nutritionist and doctors. And then it can be a little more challenging. There are more restrictions, maybe, that you need to follow or to obey, let's say.
Mhm.
But, well, that's another thing.
That's on a different side.
Yeah.
Okay. So, um, we know that vegetarian and vegan diets can be healthy for adults, as you previously mentioned. But what about pregnant women or, for example, children or preteens? What about their cases? Is it a good idea?
Well, that's a hard topic because, as I mentioned, some people want to follow these diets because of their ethics or their moral, yes, some personal ideas, and that is very, I don't know, understandable. It's okay. But once more, it's necessary to get professional help or assessment more than help to know how to follow a diet like that. In this particular cases, um, this is not a good idea or the best idea. It's not something that most health professionals recommend because these people are facing a process where their bodies are creating new cells, and they need like animal protein sources. It's more necessary. It's not that easy. So in those cases, vegetarian diet could be recommended so they don't lose all the animal source of the protein, and they can have good quality protein at the same time that they have a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle. So vegan diets are not the best for these people. They're more difficult to follow, they're more expensive, and the protein you get from fruit and veggies are not the same quality as the ones that you get from meat, basically. So as long as you um, get professional assessment, there are some chances to make it possible and healthy.
Okay. So then you mentioned just that they are good for our health, but do you consider these diets may cause any health problems in the long run? I mean, if they are not followed properly?
Yes, of course. I mean, Proteins are always necessary for all the processes inside our bodies. If we don't get the enough amount or the quality proteins that are needed, we may face some diseases or disorders. Actually, well, there can be serious consequences, particularly if it's the case that you mentioned before of a kid or a teenager or a pregnant woman, depending on the situation, the stage, let's say, they're facing in their lives, and the clinical conditions that they present, uh, they could develop negative results. I mean, they could be some problems in the long run, as you mentioned. So, but well, again, as long as you follow a treatment
Mhm.
guided by a doctor and a nutritionist, and everything should be all right.
Okay. Now, do you think it's a good idea that vegetarians or vegans take vitamins or food supplements?
Okay, yeah, that's very common, especially when people go to the gym and things like that. They want to be super healthy. It's okay. Mm, Normally, vitamins come in food from the
Okay.
food. So there are only some situations when they are needed to, I mean, like you take it from pills or something like that.
Mhm.
So again, if you go to the doctor, if you get your analysis done, your medical checkup done, you will know, or well, a doctor will know what exactly you need. And then yes, they or the nutritionist that is helping you will tell you what is best for you. So it's not a good idea for a person to just say, I need them and I'm going to take them.
Mhm.
Our organism cannot get rid of all the extra vitamins or minerals specifically that we can take, and then again there can be serious consequences after that. So as long as, again, you if you want to be healthy, you need special help and to follow the instructions that doctors and nutritionists give you will always lead you to be healthy, like completely. And the same happens with the protein. Most people want to be, I don't know, to look very well, to be
Mhm.
very aesthetic, and that's all right. And sometimes they start taking protein supplements, but again, it needs to be guided by professionals. As long as you follow the recommendations as they should be,
Mhm.
you you will look and feel great. But it's not a good idea to do it by yourself.
Okay. Now, you were talking about earlier on how it is that some people like want to be super healthy and work out a lot and have a good diet. So, is it possible to work out while following this diet?
Yes, it is possible. And then again, in these cases, it's particularly necessary to take some supplements because when you work out, you create muscle. And when you create muscle, you need proteins. And if you're not, acquiring them from your meat, and then it's necessary to get them from supplements. And there are different kinds of supplements depending on what you're doing or what you need them for. And once more, only professionals know what will be the best option for you and how, um, or what process, let's say, you should follow in this
Mhm.
kind of situations. But yes, it's always possible. There is no problem with that.
Okay, good to know that. Now, do you have any tips for vegetarians or vegans?
Well, I think that the most important thing is to accept uh, this idea that you need professional help. I mean, yes, there are so many tips and there is a lot of information out there on the internet. And so, and it might be right. but it's not the same to get general information about this particular situation, because in the end it's your health, it's your body, and if you want the best for it, then you should get some professional help. And if you get it, I'm sure that everything will work the way you want it to work. And also, you will feel great and look great, and everything will be fine.
Okay. Now, let's see. In general, in what other situations do you recommend people visit a nutritionist?
It's a very good question. I think all people should go to the nutritionist at least once a year. Same that happens with the doctors. And we all should know how our body is doing, because we may feel okay, but it's better to make sure that it is working that way. So everyone, no matter what age you are or what conditions you are in, you should go to the nutritionist at least once a year to know how everything is going in your body. And then you will get the recommendations that will make you be and feel better. That's for all people, because many times we know that we're not very healthy. We know that we should make some changes in our habits or do some things, but we don't know where to start. It's hard. And so if you go to a nutritionist, a general nutritionist, then you can have the assessment that you need, and well, start making some good yes, good changes in your habits. Also, if you know that you have, or a person that you know has a particular situation, a disease or something like that, then it is more recommendable to look for the help, in this case, of a clinical nutritionist who is specialized on diseases and who'll know better what you need. Another thing, if you are working out, if you want to be super fit and everything, there are also nutritionists who are specialized on sports, so they can help you a lot, because they will also, I mean, they also know what kind of exercises are better for you according to your body and your conditions, and what extra nutrients, supplements, complements, or anything like that you may need. And if you get this professional help, well, everything will work out perfectly.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a nice idea to have a nutritionist that we trust on.
Yes.
Okay. Well, excellent. Thank you so much for your time, Mireya. It was nice seeing
You
you.
too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. Okay. So that was our webinar on vegetarianism. If you have any questions, you can send us an email or ask us the questions in case you are watching live. Thank you for your time and good night.